This is our cross-curricular project based on the importance of conformity and nonconformity. In our group there is Max Salter, Cody Dellinger, and Dalton Slone. We each have focused on certain areas of conformity, from sports science, religion, and astronomy. Cody will be going first with religion, then Dalton with astronomy, and last with Max in sports science. Which is better, conformity or nonconformity? Both have their pros and cons, but I think the answer lies within the question. There is no right or wrong to this, but here's my example to make you think of both sides using history of the Nazis and Jews. Jews in all their life have been prosecuted, but the most recent is during World War II with the Nazis. The Jews had to either conform to Christianity or face the Nazis. The bad part of this is that they had to completely change their religion, faith, and everything that they believed in. The easiest way to do this was to flee areas around Germany, leaving everything they had and paying taxes for the next year, but this didn't guarantee their safety. The best way to get their safety was to conform to Christianity. This wasn't favored by the Jewish population, so they faced the Nazis. Over 6 million Jews faced them and died. In this situation, it would have been better to conform, but in the eyes of the Jewish population, they picked religion over death. There is no good part of the situation, but it could have been different if the Jews conformed more. But there is no real way to tell if the outcome would have changed. Whether the death count would have been way down, or there wouldn't have been a Holocaust to begin with. But like I said before, there's no way of telling. In the end, I believe conformity would have been the better decision.
Galileo was an Italian math professor who set the base for more modern ways of physics and astronomy. I'm going to focus on the astronomy portion of Galileo's career that was mainly focused in the 1590s and early 1600s. Back before Galileo's influence, society believed in Plato's and Socrates' geocentric theory. The geocentric theory was based around the idea that the Earth was the center of the universe instead of the Sun, and that the Sun was just a large star that orbited around the Earth. Galileo was one of the few believers of the Copernican theory, which stated that the Earth was not the center of the universe, but the Sun was. This theory became a conflict of interest not only between Galileo and his students, but also a conflict with the Church. This is because the Church saw the Copernican theory as unholy, and the Church said that the Copernican theory went against the Catholic religious beliefs. The Church had a strong influence on the society, so Galileo was portrayed as an anti-Christian who meant no good for society, which led to discrimination and his knowledge being rejected by society. Soon after this, Galileo's close friend, Cardinal Maffeo Barberini, was selected to be Pope Urban VIII, and allowed Galileo to write a book on the matter as long as he shows no bias towards the Copernican theory. Though this was said, in Galileo's book, Dialogue Concerning the Two World Chief Systems, there was an obvious bias towards the Copernicus theory, which in effect created a dangerous conflict with the Catholic Church. The Church threatened to torture Galileo in the case that he doesn't admit he is a supporter of the Copernicus theory. Galileo finally admits that he was practicing the Copernicus theory and is placed in house arrest for the rest of his life. All of this just because he disagreed with society's views on astronomy. Galileo not only set the path for modern astronomy and made the telescope, but he questioned the whole society's way to do so.
Now I'm going to talk about concussions and whether or not football should be regulated more or not on every level. Over the last few years, there's been a rising concern for football players and concussions. Many people are saying that their children should not play football due to the high risk of head injuries. This promise escalated all the way up into the NFL and has proven itself to not go away anytime in the near future. There are two sides to the argument about concussions and whether or not children and even adults should be able to play at any level. On one side, the NFL and other organizations are trying to create new concussion-preventing technology and equipment to help the players keep playing and have a low risk of getting concussions. People who support the NFL agree with their efforts and are trying to convince others that people should still be able to play football and be safe while doing so. The only bad part of taking the side with the NFL is the fact that you are supporting a violent game and having other people believe that you only care about the entertainment and not about the well-being of others. On the other side of the argument, people who conform to the idea that people should not play football are the people who have suffered from head injuries and know that there is not being much done to help. DeAndre Levy from the Detroit Lions, who was sidelined last season due to an injury not related to concussions, said that in his time in the training room, he realized how bad head injuries are from watching his teammates. He believes that the game needs to change, and the thought that he has chronic traumatic encephalopathy makes him nervous for the well-being of others. He learned that parents were taking their children out of football due to the possible injury, and he decided to stand up and try to make a difference and force a change in how seriously head injuries are taken. His followers even believe that there shouldn't be any football. In the end, I believe that if you play football, you know the possibility of injury is almost 100%, and that is something you need to accept when you make the commitment.